bring yourself in, you're going to be in the lower corner. I'm not going to be able to see much of him, but that won't really matter too much. Okay.
You can see him in real life.
Yes, that's true. That's true. He's right there. With his Piper Alley shirt on. Oh.
I have no idea.
Oh, Mack has a Piper Alley shirt on too.
If we're
You don't know if we're live or not yet?
no, it's not telling me anything.
Interesting.
Hello, if you can see us. I
Yeah.
don't know if you
Hi,
can.
everyone who may or may not be seeing us.
Okay,
We're live. We're good.
we're live.
Okay.
It doesn't give me the normal. Hey, you're here now.
Oh, doop doop. We're there. We're
We're
there.
on the Twitches.
Okay.
I haven't checked there yet.
Okay. In the
Hello, people.
YouTubes. Hi, everyone.
Adam said we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Adam said we're good on everything. So we're good.
Firing all four
We're trusting
cylinders.
Adam. All right.
Ready to party.
You ready?
Oh, I was born ready.
Okay. Very good. Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I am Rocky. This is not Eric. It is Ian. For those wondering, Eric is still alive. He's not. He's yes. No, today he actually had an event to do with his son. Now a fishing thing to do with his son. So he is not here today. But Ian has graciously graced us with his presence.
You're stuck with me again.
Haha. And as usual, Mr. Mack behind the other camera over there.
Ta-da.
Maybe if he
There I am.
Ta-da. Oh,
there, down there. Yeah. Okay. Indeed, that's Mac. Wearing his Piper Alley shirt today. Very, very nice. Very, very, very. I don't know what it is. Very, very nice. Very pretty.
I'm very
Very
jealous.
orange.
Very orange. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Fair. Okay. Today, boys and girls, special treat. Oban single malt whiskey. This is the 18-year limited edition. This was gifted to us by a friend of ours and fan of the show, David Kemp. He is down under. My man's down in Australia. Hopefully he's watching right now. If not, he may be catching on the rerun. But he's a really, really cool guy. Done a lot of really cool stuff with us. And then surprised us with 2 bottles of scotch, both which are freaking spectacular looking. I may or
forward
may
to this
not
one.
have broken into this already, not wanting to wait for a review because I like Oban and it's 18 years, so it cannot be bad. I'll leave it there. So
I haven't
will-
tried it yet, though, so this
shoot.
will be fresh for me.
I forgot to do the special thing. Whoops. Okay. Oh, special effects. Kind of.
That was really expensive.
The-
We spent
yeah.
thousands of dollars working on that tech.
The not so special effects. All right, Mr. Mack. While I am pouring said Scotch whiskey, if you could. No. You're supposed to read the tasting. That's why I'm pouring it.
Oh,
something.
heavens! All right, back in my chair.
Well, I poured it all now, so you can come get it.
I'll be back.
It's delicious. All right, I know we're all gonna like it, so I'm gonna pour a little bit extra.
I do have to drive home.
Sleeping at the shop. All right, Mr. Mack, that's yours.
Didn't bring my
And
air
we
mattress.
will. In my cot. All right, we will do our. Oh, I can't really see my kilt too much. All right, what tartan are you wearing today, Mr. Mack?
I have Stuart Hunting Ancient on today.
Very pretty. I like the orange. That matches the shirt.
Orange. Yep.
Mac-
You got orange in the hat too.
Mac is.
Very nice.
You probably have orange in your socks.
No, I got blue in my socks
Blue in the
today.
socks. Okay. Well, you got blue in the kilt. Mac will match everything. He takes matchy to a different level.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. All right, Mr. Ian, what are you wearing today?
Of course, the Kilts and Culture tartan.
That's very nice. You look very dapper today.
Thank
very
you.
dapper. So
Thank
we got
you.
like the 3 levels.
Yes.
Black matching the
Yeah.
kilt as well.
Very nice. Today, you can't see much of it there, but I have on my Pennsylvania State Seal tartan based on the colors in the State Seal of Pennsylvania. So that's what we're wearing today. All right. Go back down. Tell us about the tasting note stuff. Hurry. Go quick. What's it now?
Heavens.
Ooh,
Smells good.
it does.
Smells good.
All right. So,
It's a little
Getting
little
the oakiness?
sweet.
what are you
a
getting in
little
the
oaky.
scent? You getting some peat smoke, some spicy wood,
A touch.
notes of ripe banana,
Well, yeah, that's the sweetness. That's the
pear,
sweetness.
and plum.
Yeah, that's the sweetness.
I don't know if I'm getting banana.
I get banana when I was up.
Matt gets banana when his throat closes up and he can't breathe.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
what I
going to be a
said.
very short show.
That's what I said earlier. I'm like, I don't know about this one.
For those who
those-
don't know,
yeah.
Mack is allergic to banana.
Yeah, really weird, random.
Yes. Okay. So, yep.
I noticed it more when I was up there when when it was poured. I
Right.
could smell more of that than I do now.
So when you were a little further away.
Yeah.
Smells great. Oh, I love it. Okay. All right. Sippy sip.
So the palate is a mouth-filling sweetness tempered with smoke and malt dryness.
You're leading the witness, but yes, it's got like a after you swallow, it has like a little bit of a sandpapery feel on the tongue,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I feel that it's smoky, but like a hint.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. It's not overpowering. It's not like a full-on Isla, like Lagavulin or Ardbeg or something like that. It's a good, like, it's just there.
more
you just see it.
balanced.
Yes.
Then one of those.
And it says for the finish, long and sweet, hints of dark chocolate and salted caramel.
Yeah. I get all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's still lingering.
Okay.
Still, again, I think he's leading the witness because I 100% see it. It's what I notice is it's not a list of tasting notes like a half mile
No,
long.
it's not.
It's short, sweet, and to the point, and I agree with everything that you just said.
I don't know that I have a refined enough palate to pull all that out of it.
But I don't. If you think about it, now everyone's palate is different, and you're going to get different things out of it. But it's not like he said, oh, it tastes like dirt, and you're like, nope, that's no dirt at all. It's you're not completely disagreeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting the
Can't rule out any of those things.
the vanilla, the spice, the fruit, like the 87 typical flavors.
Stuff
And
Stuff got all the things. Sorry. Interrupt.
one of the things I said about the body, it's a medium bodied with rich with good legs, is how it's phrased on the site.
I
Well,
feel
legs are the runners down the side, and yeah, it looks like streaks down the side of your glass. Those are the legs.
Okay.
I feel that energy on that part of the description. It's balanced to me. It's got all the things I'm looking for. It's got that alcoholic burn. It's got the oakiness. It's got a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of sweetness, but nothing like the Lagavulin that has that Band-Aid flavor you talk about.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything that really like clobbers you. And
I agree, and I will say the only thing that what you just said that I did not hear Max say in the notes was I definitely get spiciness a little bit as well. Like middle back of my tongue kind of area.
Let me try again.
Yeah, all right, I'll try it again. Hold on.
when he first talked about the initial notes, he did say something about the sound. Talked about spiciness, didn't we? Or did
No,
you
no.
say that?
Spicy is not generally a nosing note. It's a tasting. It is in a nosing.
And it says peat smoke and spicy wood.
Yes, remember that.
Okay.
Spicy
Okay.
wood.
Spicy wood.
It's a spicy wood.
Spicy wood, the Rocky Rager story.
I'm just gonna leave that one alone. No, but it is a. None of it is. Now I'm gonna compare it for a sec to Highland Park,
Okay.
where their tagline, and I love this tagline, which is why I'm remembering it, is intensely balanced. I think it's called intensely. It's intensely balanced. I think it's what it said. But like it's all of the flavor profiles just more intense, but on a good balance.
Yeah.
This is to me medium balanced. It's not like super intense. Everything is off the scale. It's not super subtle that you're like, I don't get any of this. It's kind of just a regular bland blah. It's a good like right down the middle, smooth. Yeah, it's definitely smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is dangerous.
Yeah, this could be a problem. We might have to cut
Problem
the we might have-
subjective.
we might have to cut the show short by half an hour. Is all I'm saying.
I don't know. We have
we say some
David
things.
Gray put. You guys are expensive. You make me want to buy. You make me want to drink good whiskey and wear quality kilts.
we've done some less expensive whiskeys this year.
No, I will say this. We didn't buy this. I'm not this. We looked it up. Just you're not supposed to look up the price of gifts, but I did just because for reference on the show.
It was right next to the tasting notes. That's
Yes,
how we
of course,
noticed.
of course.
Yes.
This isn't cheap. It's a damn good bottle of scotch. Like flavor and quality wise, as well as price wise. I think it was like 150-ish $10-ish. So I like it. I wouldn't necessarily buy it for myself because I'm too cheap, but it is a damn good bottle of scotch. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Highland Park is more my price range, but
Highland Park is still good.
It is. I don't disagree. But
I'm going to pour a little bit of water just to see what it does.
okay.
I gave you a bottle of water earlier. I don't know if it's still there or not.
It is.
Just a touch. We'll see if it cuts it or mellows it out at all. Mack's got like 1.5 gallons of water over there.
Spiciness comes out a little bit more in the nose, I think, with a little water added.
Yeah, that's weird. Water usually takes the spiciness away, but it's definitely a little spicier even in tasting it.
Yeah, I don't think I would do this one neat. It's my recommendation.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't want it quite as spicy. I like the intensely medium balanced, or however you described it. So is this a Highland Scotch, or is this a Speyside?
No, I think it's
Or other?
considered an Isla. I think.
Is it? Okay.
It's over. It's not on Isla or. Mac, do you know what it's considered?
Looking
Oban is
up
on
right
the
now.
left coast of Scotland, like left of or west coast of Scotland, left of
Left of the
Glasgow.
coast,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's a sea town. I've been there. I've been there before I was really drinking scotch, or else I would have gone to the distillery. Doesn't say. It's just single.
I was excited to see. I recently
West Highland.
recently looking at a map that showed where all the biggest distilleries were in Scotland.
Yeah.
And I was excited to see 3 scotches that I've always kind of like thought of as at least very close to the same. We're all like right in the same town on that island.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was
Ardbeg, Freud, and Lagavulin.
those are the 3.
Yep.
It's just on a different part of that island.
Yeah. No. This is not on that island.
It's not, okay.
It says West Highland Scotch.
West Highland
So
Scotch.
it's
Highland born and raised.
on the playground. In the peat box. That's
I
where he
hope
spent
not.
most of his
Peat
days.
box.
Oh yes.
Don't bring this to the playground.
Yeah. Well,
It's saying it's one of the smallest distilleries too.
really.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I would think the smallest
one
distilleries
of the
don't get
smallest
the
Scotch
internationally
distilleries, yeah.
distributed.
Interesting. Very nice. No, but damn good.
Very good. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever had any version of Oban before, so this is exciting.
I've had, I think they have a 10 or a 12 year, I think is what it is. And it's really good as well.
I believe it.
Mr. Mack, what are your score it 1 to 10? What do we give it?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 9-1.
Okay.
I like this one.
Strong score. Very good. Ian,
This is no smokehead.
thank God.
This could be a problem. This is good. It's very smooth. Like I could drink a lot of it without noticing, kind of thing, just because it's so well balanced. I like it quite a bit. I'm gonna say 9, and I'm probably only rating it that low because I want to leave some room in case we try something better further down the road. But this is definitely the best thing I've ever had on the show, at least.
Okay. Okay. 9-2.
Okay.
It's good. I like it a lot. I like it more than I should. Yeah, Oban, you've kicked ass with this one. They were waiting for our approval, of course.
Of course. Now they've got the USA Kilt stamp of approval, or the Kilts and
Ka-chunk.
Culture stamp of approval.
Exactly. But yeah, that's really really good. That may displace. Gotta take a breath before I say this.
Okay, hold.
This may displace Lagavulin.
Oh, okay. I never thought I'd hear you say that.
As my tastes have evolved, I've mellowed a little bit more. I've appreciated other scotches from other areas more. So this still has like the Lagavulin soul in a Highland body.
Okay.
I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense or it just sounds creepy or artistic or all of the above.
I mean, you can be both creepy and artistic. Those things are not mutually exclusive.
I've been called both. So that's fair. All right. Very good. All right, boys and girls. Run, do not walk. Get a bottle of this. Save up for a while. But get a bottle of this. It belongs in everyone's liquor cabinet at some point if you drink scotch.
Or have a friend from Darwin, Australia who sends you things.
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy gas, or you could buy a bottle of that, which is
Costs about what a tank of gas costs now. So.
Would gas get you? Never mind. I'm not suggesting drinking gas again. The lawsuit was enough once. Okay. All right, boys and girls. Load your comments and questions in the comment area. Let us know what questions you have for us. Before we get started, we are going to read. Glad that didn't rip. The answers. We were supposed to do this last month. We completely forgot it. But the end of the show, we always ask a question of the day. So, and then we just started doing this now. Well, this is the first time we're doing it. We're going to revisit last month's question of the day, and we're going to read the top 3 answers as judged by us. So it's just random top 3.
Because we felt like it.
Exactly. Or we agree with them. All right, so question of the day last month. What is your favorite and least favorite Scotch? Yodan Hunter said his favorite Scotch was Auchentoshan 12-year. Least favorite, Ardbeg Wee Beastie. Dustin, I think I've had Auchentoshan. I know we've done it on the show. I think I had Ardbeg Wee Beastie. I think my father-in-law has drank that one before.
Never done the Wee Beast.
Meh. Dustin Whitaker. I don't think Lagavulin 16 can be beat. Maybe. And Cuddy Sark is pretty terrible. Yes.
All accurate.
Yes, it is. Marcel Gomez. No idea. Scotch. My favorite might be Oban. And
Good
the only
choice.
one that I had that was too smoky for me was Ardbeg. It tasted like a tire fire. Creative. Like the comment. That's our winner.
Artistic and creepy.
Exactly. Artistic and creepy. Okay. Mr. Ian, what do we got for this month as people load in questions for Mac?
And of course, get your questions in advance. If you're not in the Kilts and Culture group, join us there. Eric always asks the question, like, hey, give us some questions. That's where some of mine are coming from. That's the best place if you're wondering where to send your questions. Let's start with a question from Carol Boyd, though. They want to know, how do you store multiple kilts? In this case, possibly as many as 30. You have a problem, Carol. They apparently heard a crash in their closet and found the whole clothes rack had collapsed. Has this ever happened to you?
Never happened to me at all. Absolutely it has. Several years ago, so I guess about 5 or 6 years ago now, middle of the night, I heard a boom, woke up in the morning, and the cheap wire bracky stuff that was put in there by the contractor in our walk-in closet had collapsed under the weight of a few too many kilts, perhaps. So what I did, I'm not super duper handy, but I'm not handy. So we went to Home Depot, bought a bunch of the metal track things with like the dual slots that kind of go down it, and bought a ton of that stuff and found all the studs in the closet and just screwed one into each stud. I overbuilt the hell out of it. I put 3 or 4 or 5 screws in each one just to make sure it's going nowhere. And yeah, I did that, and I haven't had a problem since. So yeah, it's a bit of a DIY project. I think it cost me like $600 or $700 between all of the fancy doodads that we got for the closet. But it's not going anywhere. You?
Yes, first time this happened to me was probably like maybe a month out of college. My wife and I, well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but we moved into our first apartment together. Moved in that day, middle of the night, I heard a noise. I flew out of our bedroom in our small 1-bedroom apartment, like fists up, ready to fight somebody. I thought somebody had crashed through our front door. And new apartment, don't know the neighbors, don't know what's going on. And it's a small apartment. I quickly evaluated. I'm like, there's nothing different. There's nothing wrong. The door's closed. It's still locked. Bathroom's fine. None of our piles of boxes had fallen over. Just went back to bed confused. No idea what had happened. It was in the morning when I got ready to go to work and opened the closet. I'm like, oh, I see what happened here.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Now, I was 1 month out of college, so I did not have $600 or $700 for a solution. Also, it was an apartment, and I wasn't trying to spend a lot of money to fix up this 1-bedroom apartment that we only ended up staying in for 8 months. I got a 2x4, and it was one of those cheap closet rods that fits a wide range. So right at the point where the 2 rods becomes
With
one,
a joint,
it collapsed there. So 2x4, propping that up. I don't know if I put in a new. I might have put in a new bar if it was damaged and then propped it up with a 2x4. And that happened through a couple different apartments. After that, I moved into an old home that had very sturdy ones. But yeah, my recommendation for those of you who are just getting into the serial kilter lifestyle, invest in your closet space now. Even if it's just you get some old pipe at the hardware store and some really good brackets.
Yeah, like galvanized piping like plumbers are using, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it is.
Not a bad plan.
It can be a problem. I was going to say the same thing. Support it from the bottom if you don't want to redo the whole closet kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. Mac, has there anything like that happened to you, or no? Has your closet been pristine?
The apartment we lived in was very small closets, and they weren't very wide. So therefore, I did not have space in the closet
For 30 kilts.
So I was not allowed to use the closet.
Not for 30 kilts, for anything.
Yes, I was I was booted from the room, and somebody else had closet space. But we did set up one of those, a rolly rack type thing, but it was plastic, and it lasted about 3 seconds. And
Yeah.
so
Cheap ones don't last well.
Yeah, so now I've got a heavy metal, almost just pipe in our house that we bought.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem right now. So
Yeah. Overbuild.
yeah.
Yep.
So I've been noticing recently we've been getting a lot more of this type of question, just from customers in the store, not even necessarily for the show. And I have a theory on this. I think a lot of people discovered this lifestyle during pandemic, whether it's through our show or just doing their DNA and getting into kilts from there. And so a lot of people have gone from maybe having one kilt to now having several. So this is a problem that I'm seeing more and more, specifically 2022 even.
Kilts.
So
A, I think you give our show too much credit. B,
I think it has done
we
something
reached
for
tens of people.
people going from wearing their kilts 2 or 3 times a year and owning 1 or 2 to
Showing them
encouraging
you
the
can wear it
serial
more often.
kilter.
Correct.
Yeah.
Understood. Yes, I agree. I think it's much more to do with what you said. Researching your family lineage. Finally having some time, and you're stuck at home. You're playing around on the computer. Hey, you might as well call grandma and see about her childhood and fill in the thing on the family tree and on Ancestry.com or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's
Where they're doing the tests.
probably has something to do with it as well. I agree. All right, Mr. Mack, do we have anyone? Is there anybody out there? Any questions from
If
the
you can
audience?
hear me.
We've got a few coming in. I'm catching up on all the comments now.
I'm going to be making more comments when I pour another pint of this stuff. A mega pint.
And what is that again?
This is Oban 18. Damn, that's good.
Rocky's like, nope.
Get some cheap shit from the back. Sorry.
Smokehead's gone, right?
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
So we have Kendrick asking, what would you say is the most camouflage?
Holy. I was joking about a pint. Ian wasn't.
A pinch more than you. Mine wasn't empty though yet. So it was the
Okay.
same. It was the same
Okay.
pour. This is the same pour.
Sure.
We can go back and review the footage if you
All right, Mac, what were you saying?
All right, so we got Kendrick asking from YouTube, what would you say is the most camouflaged tartan, or one that its colors could function as such, other than Blackwatch, and even that's iffy, as he's saying? I have one in mind.
Shadow tartan, black on black. You could do that. You could do, I would say something in the weathered family, possibly Blackwatch weathered, or no, I wouldn't say camouflage on that because there's too many bright
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
But like Mackay weathered.
You get the weathered vibe here.
Yes, yeah, that's weathered. But Mackay weathered is going to be just effectively charcoal and then gray and brown, and that's it.
Yeah.
So those would be my camouflagey ones. If you're going to be in the fall in Canada, maple leaf. It's meant to kind of represent the gradient. Ian.
I don't think there's going to be any like great knock it out of the park answers to this question because of all the straight lines. It's very
Yes.
insert your word here.
Gridular. Exactly.
So the straight lines are going to stand out against a background that isn't that straight. So I think it depends on the time of year too, as you were kind of indicating. I think like a Buchanan muted, like it's available in the PV range, would look good in the fall for blending
Okay.
in with the oranges and the greens and everything going on. It's the first one that comes to mind for that. County Roscommon isn't too far off of that. I think the Buchanan's a little better for blending in though
Okay.
for the fall.
Mac? You're
So
chomping at the
if
bit.
I'm going fall, I was thinking the not Isle of Man, Columns of Sky.
Okay.
It kind of goes with that whole like maple leaf look to it.
Okay.
But I was taking the camouflage like old school camo, like Brown Watch or
Okay.
or Buchanan hunting.
Okay. Or some of the tweeds.
Yeah,
Like-
tweeds
I was just
would
trying to
go.
think that, especially some of the
Stuart-
natural fibers.
Stewart
to
hunting
it.
weathered tweed
Mm-hmm.
is it gets at least it sort of tampons down the straight line thing with a little bit of texture look to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can depend on
Okay.
where you are too, though. Like perhaps a saffron kilt if you're out in the desert.
Unless you're the same color as the sand, I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, but I mean,
Just
what's going to
make
be
sure-
better out in the desert, though? I don't know.
Just want to make sure you have the blaze orange vest to go with this, though.
Or
Depending on where
a
you go,
Piper
of
Alley
course.
shirt
There we go. That works too.
in blaze orange.
It's not quite fluorescent enough.
Yeah, it's fair. It's not Flyers orange, but it's like a burnt sienna. Fair.
A light pumpkin.
Yes. Wait till we
It's
have
called a
more stuff.
jack-o'-lantern.
Exactly.
A light pumpkin.
Oh my God. This is gonna
And
get
that's
worse.
how I got
folks.
kicked off the show.
Yes. Why isn't he on the show anymore? All right. I hope that answer helped. Sorry for him. All right. Next question, Mr. Ian.
Okay, I've got one here from our friend down in Florida, Brian Taylor. He has a large remnant from when his kilt was made, about 30 by 60 inches. I want to make some other things with it. Do you tear or rip, or do you tear/rip, or do you cut it?
The depends on 30 by 60. I would say this: if he was with tartan, with any twill kind of fabric, you can actually tear it. So you cut a 2-inch section. You grab either side, and I'm going to do this without the scotch in my hands. You grab either side and pull hard and fast apart with your hands, and the fabric will rip in a straight line right down that that section. If you're cutting or you're trying to cut a shorter section, 20 inches or less, I'd probably kind of ballpark, or 15 inches or less, I wouldn't rip it. I would just cut it, because if you rip too slow, what ends up happening is you pull, and you have a bunch of little pulls in the fabric. You have to rip hard and fast. So for that, especially if he's going down the 60-inch length, like he's cutting 60-inch strips, then sure, I would notch it and then rip real fast. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely don't want to do it too close to any edges, obviously, but
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be my answer to that.
Okay. And Mark Rooney followed up with, and what to make from a small chunk of cloth like that, or even smaller, perhaps.
Okay. So what would we make from small pieces of cloth?
So our example is 30 by 60. What would you do
30
with
by
a 30
60.
by 60?
You could do like one necktie. With a necktie, they're generally cut on the bias, so you're wasting
Yeah.
a lot of fabric. You could do pocket squares. You could do one sash spliced in the middle.
Yeah.
You could do. Trying to think what else. What would you, Mac? Bring yourself in for this one as well. What would you make out of a small scrap-ish of cloth?
I think you could do, like, if you wanted to accent something in your house, you could use it as maybe like a ribbon around a wreath if you wanted to use a small piece of that,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or just even a little runner on a mantle or a table. Potentially
pillow?
A pillow.
That's pretty big. That'd be 30 by 60 is probably only enough for one. If you had something a little bit bigger, or depending on the size of the pillow.
Depending on the size of the pillow,
If it's,
and if you're
12
only
by
backing,
8.
or if you're backing just one side of it versus the other side.
Yeah, fair point.
Maybe a seat on a chair if it's just a smaller chair or
Just
stool.
the pad, the seat. Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe a thong. I don't know. Maybe.
Wool thong? 16 ounce?
Why not?
Yeah.
Go big, go.
Oh, it is a good thing I didn't just take a sip right there.
Well,
We got
chafing?
all over the cameras. He really lulled me to sleep with pillows and seat covers, and then boom.
Thong. Okay. Thong. Fair. Assless chaps. Next level.
Sure.
What about yourself?
Yeah, here in the production room, a piece like that we'd set aside for making into sashes to put out in the store. That's the first thing that comes to mind. If you're more crafty, maybe like if you're doing, I know one year we made a bunch of jams or something like that to give out to all our friends at Christmas, friends and family. Maybe take little small remnants and tie it around the jar just to give it a little personal touch, especially if it's your family tart and it's going to family members.
I agree.
A fun little touch.
When I wrap Christmas presents, I would often take long, skinny strips of tartan and then tie it around the box.
Okay.
So you can do that as an accent thing. In the store, we used to actually tie little strips of tartan on the handle of the bags.
Don't tell them that.
Okay,
then they're
fair.
going to ask for
Sorry.
it again. We don't do that anymore.
What was the other thing I had? Yeah, I forget. But yeah, those are some things. What would you guys do if you have little bits of tartan? How would you use them? Oh, I know what I was going to say. Quilt. If you're crafty and make quilts, oftentimes people say quilt and kilt, mixing the words up.
That's true. We do get some people that will they do take some. They're even doing a shadow box with maybe having like if it's an Irish one, have like a county silhouette and have that with it, or some sort of saying. We've seen things along those lines.
We've seen some things, but no, there's a lot of cool
Short kilts from 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
I've seen some things.
There's a lot of cool ways to use tartan as an accent in either decor around your home or in art pieces or in just even just wrapping presents. Just fun little ways to incorporate it and adds a splash of color and a bit of culture to it. Cool. Good luck, Mr. Mack.
Alrighty, so we have let's go to Robert's question. Robert is asking, when wearing a PC for one's wedding, he's the groom, so congratulations.
My condolences.
What's the preferred style of shirt and tie to wear? Also, is a turn-down collar and tie inappropriate?
Long to like necktie.
I'm assuming necktie with that.
With a PC, yes, unless maybe it's a 5-button vest. The appropriate shirt to wear with a Prince Charlie jacket and vest. Well, let's start here. A Prince Charlie jacket and vest comes with an open jacket. It actually does not physically close. There's buttons on it, but they don't connect. A 3-button vest is typically what you'll get with a Prince Charlie. Now, 3-button vest meaning like it's down to here. So you have a long ways to go from the bottom of the V to your actual necktie. So wearing a straight necktie with a 3-button vest is a bit, I wouldn't do it. So typically it's a bow tie is what you wear with a PC. And you would also wear a wing collar tuck shirt with a Prince Charlie jacket and vest. Now, there have been some people, kind of a trend over the last COVID has just thrown everything out the window for years. But there's been a trend over the last 5 or 6 years to start pairing a 5-button higher 5-button vest with a Prince Charlie, something like what Ian has on. Now, for that,
I would not wear this vest with a Prince Charlie.
no. But if it was black, same material as the vest or as the jacket, with that, you could get away with, I guess, a straight tie. It's still not my druthers.
How does it look with a Prince Charlie jacket, though? I don't think I've seen that before.
It
I
looks
guess I'm
fun.
curious.
Well, I'll get to that. hold your horses, buddy.
Sorry?
You could still wear a bow tie with a 5-button vest. You could wear a ruche tie with a 5-button vest, or a necktie. Although I'm not a big fan of a necktie with a PC because you're mixing formal and semi-formal or less formal. The main difference between an Argyle, it's called an Argyle vest. The main difference between a standard Argyle vest that you would wear with an Argyle jacket and a 5-button Argyle vest you would wear with a PC is you would get the vest a size shorter. So if you're normally a 48 long, you'd get a 48 regular because the Prince Charlie jacket and vest is cut much higher. So you don't want the bottom of the vest to be below the bottom of the coatee or the jacket. So you'd get the next size up. Is typically even if you just ordered from company X here, if you ordered a Prince Charlie jacket and 5-button vest, they're going to supply a shorter vest, or they should supply a shorter vest with the Prince Charlie than they otherwise would with an Argyle.
Don't give them ideas.
Does all of that make sense to you? Do you have anything to add to the discussion?
It all makes enough sense. I think we're at a little context. Like, if you can visualize what Rocky was talking about, with the 5-button vest, you're seeing this much necktie. With that 3-button, you're going to see double or maybe even a little bit more. And it's going to bunch up in weird ways. For that reason, it's probably not going to be the best.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Agreed. So?
I don't think I have much else to add beyond that, though.
Okay. That helps. Was that you or was that Mac? You had one
Mack.
similar, I thought. Yeah. So that's why I was confused. Go ahead.
Did
Ian,
I have one
you
similar?
go next.
Okay, I had one similar.
Kind of.
Something
Not
about
exactly.
PC, I
Not
forget
about
where
the
it
vest.
is. I wasn't going to
Yeah.
do that one next, though. I'm
You
not
don't.
quite ready to.
You just
It's
go right
fine.
down
It's
the list,
Okay, I'm
buddy.
going to go right down the list, bud.
Fair.
Okay.
This is a really good scotch.
It is. So, from our friend Mark Swan. I don't know if he's our friend. Actually, I'm not sure who Mark Swan is.
It's my
but
buddy. Of course
my friend
he's
Mike Swan. My personal
Yes, my personal bestie.
bestie, Mike Swan. Mark Swan. Mark
BFFs.
Swan. Can I have some more scotch? He
You
says,
drank it all.
He says, I'm curious about the membership process of Celtic societies. How open are they? I'm still trying to figure out my clan heritage and an organization that will accept me. I'm a rather unconventional person, not unlike ourselves, and on the younger side of the curve. 30 is apparently the curve. Uh-oh. But I'd like to be part of something that supports the culture and family vibe without it being a crowd of folks that I'm just not going to mesh with.
Okay. What he's talking about, the organizations that are involved in Celtic heritage and whatnot, range from, there's kind of a weird concentric circle overlap kind of thing going on. Some of them are fraternal type organizations where it's more just, or fraternal or social, where it's just more about hanging out and drinking and, whatever. There's some that are more educationally minded. There are some that are more altruistic or, community minded, where they actually go out and do things, or they have charity, exactly, or they have like school scholarship funds and that kind of thing. And then there's a whole lot of overlap. So it's not like
They most do all three to at least some degree, right? It's just a matter which one they emphasize.
Ish. It depends on the individual organization.
Fair.
Like you could say, Masons do a lot of good out in the community. I don't know how much education they're necessarily doing, but like clan societies are all about education and not about necessarily going out and cleaning up litter on the side of the highway or whatever. So there are differing things that they kind of focus on depending on the mission of the organization, if you will. And there are organizations for men specifically. There are some for women specifically, and then there are some that do both. So, like St. Andrew's Society, like for instance, St. Andrew's Society of Philadelphia is a male-only organization, and they are reasonably exclusive, i.e. you have to be able to prove your Scottish lineage and be able to join, and I believe you have to be asked by a member in order to join, versus something like the AOH, Ancient Order of Hibernians, which is an Irish fraternal organization, or the LAOH, which is essentially the ladies' equivalent, ladies' Ancient Order of Hibernians. They are both gender specific. However, Some of them are more exclusive, some of them are less. Like, you either have to be Catholic for certain ones, other ones, they may kind of waive that a little bit if you're very, very Irish and very, very involved. Masons, I would kind of toss into this because there's a lot of Scottish influence in Masonic stuff and the Masonic Rite, or Scottish Rite, excuse me. So there's that. I'm trying to think of other organizations specifically. Clan societies, which ideally you'd be part of the name, so it's kind of exclusive. But if you want to help because your wife is a Buchanan and you're not, and they're not going to turn you away at Scottish festivals.
But with all these things, I imagine that it's going to vary potentially from region to region. Like maybe the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick in one city are pretty exclusive, but maybe in another city they're going to be a little bit more open.
The St. Andrew's Society, I know that certain ones, it's left up to the individual chapter, I guess they're chapters, on how exclusive they are, whether they say, like, no, you must be able to prove your Scottish lineage, or, well, your wife is, like, off the boat Scottish, and you want to join as a member, so you're allowed in, that kind of thing. I'm constantly reminded of the Groucho Marx quote, I wouldn't belong to a club that would have me as a member. So that has to fit in here somewhere. But it's really, what organization would be best for you? We don't know because we don't know you. And you don't know because you don't know the organizations. So the best thing you can do is start looking up different organizations in your area and seeing what kind of qualifiers they have, how often they meet, what do they do, what's the mission statement, do they...
What's important to you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Look it up and then figure out where you mesh with that. Yeah. If it's a drinking club with an Irish problem, then, and you like to...
30.
Exactly. And you like to go out and party, and you like to drink, and you want to hang out, and you're just in it for the social aspect, fine, great. That sounds like a good one. If you want to go out there and educate people on a specific thing, then maybe you look towards like a clan society where you get to travel around to a few different festivals and actually engage with the general public and educate them on things. So it depends on what your goals are, what you want to do, and how you could fit in with them. One of the members in the Kilts and Culture group kind of said it sounds like essentially a tag-along for an MC, a motorcycle club, where you just hang out with the club for several months to see if you're going to be a good fit, to see if you like the members, to see if you like what they're about. And then if you do, and if they like you, then great, you can maybe join the club or go through the process of having a prospect and all that. Or if you decide like, I don't like what these guys are doing, or I don't like what these particular people in the group or whatever, then you just move on. You just do something else.
That vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we were talking about this question yesterday, and while we were talking about it, I got invited to join the Facebook group. Facebook Grapes, those are fun too. The Caledonian Club of Florida West. So I was kind of looking at it. I was curious now because I'm like, well, would I even be allowed to be a member? And they basically allow anybody who's Scottish, any Scottish Americans, or anybody who's just really interested in Scottish stuff. So they'd be a pretty wide open group. Now, I don't know where Mark is. I don't know if you're in Florida or not, but that would be a generally wide open kind of a group. A group that I've encountered within the last few months is the Ye Enchanted Crew of Brigadoon down in Tampa Bay. They're involved in a Gasparilla down there, and they do charitable stuff, but also seem to have a bit of a pirate problem and a Scottish problem and maybe even a drinking problem. I don't know. I don't know them that well. I shouldn't cast aspersions.
Mac, what's the group in California that we're talking to about getting the tartans? The purple logo.
Yes, I'm picturing the webpage. I'm picturing...
It's I don't want to say the Clan Inebriated.
Yes.
Yes, Clan Inebriated. They go to a bunch of different festivals. I don't know how much community outreach kind of things they do, but again, that's more of a social club where it's just fun to belong, and they're just all about just hanging out, good vibes, and partying. Yeah. So I kind of like that myself.
Yeah, one of the things that Jack on YouTube said is Scottish country dance groups as well. There's another
way to tackle this.
Yeah, and they're probably a lot more forgiving as far as who they would allow in as a member. You don't necessarily have to be Scottish as long as you like Scottish country dancing.
Yeah.
No, very good point. I like that. Yeah.
Potentially.
What we'll do is when we actually clip this up and put it out on the YouTubes and the Facebooks later on, we'll put comments or links in the comment section below or in the description section below, and we'll let you guys know a bunch of different groups. And if you have particular groups that you like and you're involved in or you just know about and they're really cool people, great. Let other people know about them. The more people get involved in more of the groups, the more there is. It just adds on top of itself. That was very, very eloquent of me to say it that way, I guess.
And you heard it here first. Rocky says clan societies would never go out and pick up trash. Time to move on to the next question. Huh?
Here, I think these are the words you put in my mouth. There you go. All right, Mr. Mack.
Roll back the tape.
All right, so we have a question coming to us from the Tickety Talks.
Whoop, whoop.
We're up
The
to
clock
TikTokery.
app, as the kids
Yes.
say.
So we have Emery's 333 asking, when it comes to vests, would a Civil War civilian style vest work with a kilt?
Mac, leave your the people who are actually live on TikTok can't see you right now. Yay, technology. But what do you think? Describe it so that I understand what it looks like. Double-breasted is
It
kind of
could
where
be double, it could be single. It
Okay.
could be, there's many.
well higher, even higher than 5.
It would be
like 6 or 7.
Potentially,
Right.
potentially not.
We should mention, for those that don't know, Mac has done some reenacting. He's a little bit more knowledgeable in this field.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
So there's tons of variants with the style of vest that it could be. It could be a shawl collar, it could be a step collar, it could be a no collar. Like but I'll say the bottom is also a higher rise. So because everyone's wearing their
Pants a
your
little
pants
bit
should be
higher.
higher,
Yep.
should be more around your belly button where you wear your kilt. So it would effectively be about the same level as like the vest that Ian has on, as far as height wise. Like even a lot of the bottoms of some of the vests, civilian vests, are even pointed like that one.
Okay.
So there's a lot of parallels there.
Yeah. So it depends on the individual vest that you're talking about, but yes, there's a good chance it could work. Kind of what Mac alluded to. Basically, it's the bottom of the vest, how it terminates at the bottom, whether it's a flat bottom or reverse peaks kind of thing. How far down the kilt does it go? If it's cut a bit higher, then it could possibly work, or it could probably work. If it is just regular vest length, where it goes down a little bit further, like it's meant to be worn with pants of today, not pants of the 1800s, then yeah, it might not work. But yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a kilt vest. You do not have to buy your vest from a kilt company. Kilt companies are going to have vests that will work with kilts, but you don't have to do it. You can find a vest somewhere else, but it's a matter of making sure that it works. The specific example that you have works with the kilt, because not every vest is going to work with a kilt, but every kilt vest will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's always the thing I'm most nervous about. So it says, can I wear this vest with my kilt? Was it designed to be with the kilt because of that height issue?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can work that out, maybe it'll work.
There you go. All right, Mr. Ian.
So I'm going to come at you with a question. We've been getting this one for a couple of months now. Haven't gotten around to it. It's been on our list. So several people have asked it, more than I'm going to mention. But I'll call out Robert J. Barnowski, Eric Stubbs, and Elliot McFadden for recently asking this one at least. What are the differences between woolen wool, worsted wool, and in the grease wool?
Okay. Let's start with woolen wool and worsted wool. Woolen wool, the first time I heard the phrasing, like way back when, I thought like, oh, that's just a BS term. That can't be real. It is a real term. Woolen wool is an actual thing. Woolen wool is designed to be a little bit, for lack of a better term, puffier and include more air in the way that it's spun and then woven. So an example of something that's woolen wool might be like an army blanket or a pea coat or something like that, where it's the air that is included in how puffy the individual strands of yarn are is an insulative property. Worsted wool, on the other hand, has very, very long, straight fibers that are very, very tightly bound together in a straight fashion, and it's very, very densely woven. It is not designed for insulative properties. There's not really air pockets that are in the individual yarns, but it is better for suits or kilts or garments of clothing that are a nice garment of clothing that don't need
Smooth.
an insulative property. Exactly, a hard finish, if you will. Now, it starts woolen wool or worsted wool essentially they could start with the same fibers. It really boils down to the way that the fibers are straightened out. Or do you have like paddle carders, which are like two paddles where you actually do this. Essentially, in your mind, think of like the thing you use to comb your cat, to pull the excess hair off of your cat. Two of those, which you go back and forth. Or is it a drum carder, which is essentially a drum with a bunch of little spikes coming out in all directions, and you actually spin it around and it just kind of straightens the fibers as they go into it? Or is it combed? And combs are like big metal spikes that hold, chunks of wool here, and then you actually, go like this, you bat at it with another set of spikes, and then once it's all on this one, then you go sideways, and then it goes back to this one, and you're just basically straightening all the fibers. The next step is when you take the roving or like the puffy ball, if you will, or strip of yarn, or not of yarn, of hair that you have. You take that, and when you go to spin it, if it is a short distance, what's the terminology, Mac? Not short spinning. Short spin versus long spin, is that what it is?
Maybe.
Short spin is you're dealing with a small amount, and you're just pulling here, and it's going right onto the spindle, so you're dealing a short length, versus a long where you're actually pulling it all the way out, and it's actually twisting it. That is going to give you little tiny hairs. The long one is going to give you little tiny hairs kind of sticking out, versus a short one, which is going to keep it very, very tight and very focused. So that is going to be better for worsted wool because it's tight and focused, versus ones that have all the little hairs sticking out all the way down, which is going to be a little fluffier, a little airier. It's going to be better for woolen wool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that jive, Mac? Are you in the shot or no? Does that jive with what you've...
I am now.
There you are. Does that jive with what you know of worsted wool
that's-
versus woolen wool?
Yeah, the airiness, the light and fluffiness of it is the
Yeah.
key.
It really depends on what you want to do. And when you get into it, and I am not a fiber arts technician, shall we say, but when you get into it, you can actually you can have it's kind of a gradient. For our purposes in this answer, we're talking about this side or this side with a specific purpose. But you can have something that you've combed on paddle carder to have it a little bit woolen woolish, and then you do it on a short, a short thing to kind of keep it a little bit tighter. So it's a sliding scale on how tight and how much insulative properties or how much airiness is kind of in it. Now let's touch quickly on in the grease. In the grease basically is talking about the lanolin that's actually in the fibers themselves. So if it's in the grease, it means that it's not the lanolin, the oils that are in the hair from the sheep have not purposefully been stripped all the way out. So you wash wool, because sheep are running around the fields. They get sticks in there, bugs, all kinds of stuff.
That's the most pleasant of it, I'm sure.
Exactly, a lot of dirt. So you do have to wash that stuff out generally before you spin it. However, you don't want to wash all of it out because that helps maintain the lanolin levels in the actual yarn. If it's in the grease, it means that the lanolin has not been washed out of either the hair or the yarn if you've already done it, or the finished woven fabric. If it is not in the grease, it means you've actually pulled and stripped the lanolin out. And there are different reasons why you want to leave it in or take it out, depending on what you are doing with the finished cloth. Mac, you said something about your parents or your mom used to do that stuff, and she would leave it in.
Yeah, we'd wash it to at least get some of the filth as it was out of it. Because as you say, they're picking up all kinds of stuff, and you're just, as you're spinning it, or as she was spinning it, the more it's in the grease, because you can literally spin right off a sheep, like pull right off the sheep and
cut it. You
spin.
don't pull their hair,
but it's like the problem is it starts gunking things up. The more lanolin that's in it, it's going to gunk up the equipment more.
Yeah.
And it's that lanolin's used. You can put the lanolin back into it as well. You can add it in. And that's used for so many other properties as well.
Yep.
Does anybody use lanolin for like their own hair products or any other thing like that, or
really moisturizer?
Moisturizer,
yeah,
lip
on
balm,
the elbows, get rid of that, crustiness.
Yeah.
mustache wax. You can use it all for that type of stuff. So
yeah.
In baseball mitts.
I'm learning things here today.
Now, so that's in the grease. Now, for a kilt, specifically, you want to look for, generally speaking, worsted wool fabric. You don't want to have woolen wool because it has more airy insulative properties. It ends up being hotter when you're wearing it. And because it's puffier type fabric, it doesn't take a crease nearly as well.
Yeah.
So the pleats on the back of the kilt are going to end up just kind of being like rolled and just kind of limp after you wear it for a little while, versus being nice crisp pleats that are going to stay in their shape as you kind of wander about throughout the day. Any thoughts on woolen wool versus worsted wool kilts? Why anyone would buy a woolen wool one?
They're going to be less expensive. The materials are not quite as processed.
Yeah.
The material itself is less expensive, and that might be where you can get into a less expensive kilt. But it's just not going to hold the pleat, like you said.
Yeah, agreed. Now I think someone uses the term like homespun or something like that. I think the term is misleading because it's not really. I don't know who it is, for the record. But I've heard customers say, like, "Oh, what about this company? They do homespun," and it's not homespun because it's not a little old lady sitting there spinning the actual yarn and then doing it on their own loom. If it was, it would be exorbitantly expensive because it's a much more manual process, not a commercial process. So I think it's a little bit misleading, but it's meant to kind of, as a marketing thing, talk about that it's going to be imperfect. There may be some slubs, there may be some knots in the fabric, and to kind of prepare people that it's not going to be quite perfect because it's homespun. That's all I would really probably say about that. Any other thoughts? That's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
Right where I was
Pull
going.
my Forrest Gump out, exactly. No, but there's a good, it's a good question. Woolen wool, again, it sounds like a fake name, but it's not. Woolen wool is a thing, more insulative properties. It is good for certain things. It is less good for other things. It is good for peacoats and things that you need to keep warm. It is less good for finished, tailored, kilts, suits, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, would it be accurate to say, and I don't know the answer to this question because I'm a kilt maker with a kilt making experience. I've never done any weaving. That part of the reason, in addition to the crease thing, that you want not in the grease for your worsted wool for your kilts, part of that is going to be better consistency with your chemical treatments for colors, because you want your colors to match from bolt to bolt to bolt as much as can be reasonably expected.
Possibly. I don't know if the color, the dyeing process is affected by the lanolin in the actual hair. So I don't know. I think that they would probably have if they wanted to have something that was in the grease or something that had more lanolin properties in the material, they could probably work around it.
Yeah.
Mack is over there intently
I
staring
was just
and
thinking,
thinking.
greases and fats can certainly affect how color holds, I would think. But we are firmly in speculative territory here. Don't stop and Google for the next 3 minutes.
I'm thinking about even the scarves you have downstairs. The color on some of them isn't as vibrant as like the worsted that we have.
It can be,
in
though.
some cases.
Yeah.
But that's woolen versus worsted, not in the grease versus
Yeah.
out of the grease. Is that a phrase?
No, it's lamb's wool, so it's going to be softer,
Yeah.
a softer type of wool. So I don't think it has anything to do with in the grease or not.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
Sorry for the curveball.
They have some sort of workaround around that.
Yeah.
Not that you couldn't get the color you wanted is not my suggestion.
Yeah,
Just
it just-
consistency.
Yeah,
I
No,
don't know
you
how
would-
consistent you can make the percentage of lanolin if you're trying to
because
keep.
lanolin's waterproof. It's also a waterproofing, so it would have a little bit harder time to penetrate.
Depending on how you're dyeing, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it would all depend on the dyeing process you're using, whether you're using a natural or using a synthetic type dye.
Yeah, they
as
would have a
well.
dye for it, is my guess. And they would, if they were going to do something like that, they would blend the the fleeces from all the different sheep together,
Yeah.
and then comb them all together. So like oily Betty and dry skin Dave. Those are the names of two sheep. Their fleeces get kind of blended together, so it's not like one is taking the dye differently than another. Oily Betty, yes.
I always dread when dry
Girl in high
skin
school.
Dave comes into the store.
I know. Yes, damn kids. All right, Mr. Mack.
All right, we have
Oily Betty.
Cameron.
Whoa, Oily Betty. Bam,
Whoa,
bam,
okay,
Oily
well,
Betty.
hang on.
Bam, bam.
Before we get to the next question,
Oh,
we should do something else first.
okay. Let's
Oh.
do the Kilt Ambassador of the Month.
Edward Montgomery is a veteran, teacher, and youth minister living in the panhandle of Nebraska with his wife Carolyn. He says the culture out there is 100% cowboy since it's mainly farming and ranching. Edward goes by Monty most of the time. He and Carolyn, also a teacher by the way, have 3 kids, 1 social worker, and 2 college teachers. Monty flew helicopters in the Marines for 7 years and participated in the invasion of Grenada and in the peacekeeping force in Lebanon. And that's why he chose Leatherneck as his first tartan, by the way. Monty's first education gig was on the Omaha Indian Reservation teaching English and social studies, grades 6 through 12. In 2014, Monty retired, but his current school asked him to come back in 2016, and Monty, being the guy he is, said yes. The school serves a very small town, so I guess they really needed the help. He's got about 50 high school level students right now. It's a lot. Monty and his wife are going to take a stab at retiring again this May. Hopefully that'll mean more time for kayaking, biking, hiking, reading history, and practicing the boron. Those are Monty's hobbies. As for kilts, Monty had the bug for a while. He says wearing a kilt in the Montgomery tartan was always a big bucket list for him. But serving in the Corps and then becoming a teacher really didn't lend itself to that. But he had the itch, which is what led him to the Kilts and Culture Facebook group. Ta-da! Not long after that, he was able to dive in. Even better, his school board gave him permission to wear the kilt at school, so now Monty is an official serial kilter, kilted 4 to 6 times a week. He says, "It became an object lesson for my students in being a real individual and celebrating cultural heritage." Now, if you're thinking of going into teaching, Monty's advice is simple. Quote, "Love your kids. If you can't love your kids on their worst day, or yours, you shouldn't be a teacher. And remember, the ones who are the hardest to love are the ones who need you the most. Also, learn to buy good scotch." His advice for newbie kilters? Own it. Monty recalls that his wife once said to him, "You don't like being the center of attention, but you want to wear a kilt. You need to decide." He says he bought a kilt and never looked back.
So, here's to Mr. Edward Monty Montgomery, a great teacher. Cheers, Monty. So, Ian, here's my question to you. And Mac, you can bring yourself in for this as well. I'm curious about your opinion on it. How would you feel, high school student, you go in and one of your teachers is wearing a kilt? Is that fun? Does that inspire you? Does that, make you crazy? I don't know. Like, what do you think? You walk into high school, one of your teachers is wearing a kilt.
I mean, we had a guy dressed that showed up in American Revolutionary War uniform in my school, so
Okay.
I did reenacting after that.
Regularly?
No, not regularly, but it was for when we got into that unit.
Okay.
So I ended up getting into reenacting, so I would have probably had an interest in that direction.
So if a teacher wore a kilt, you would have gotten into kilting instead of reenacting.
You were an impressionable youth, Mac.
Apparently. I mean, I spent most of the time in the ag wing and drafting wing of the building, so...
Right. Okay. Ian.
I don't know. I don't know how I would have reacted to that, because I don't think I wasn't ready to see that and go, oh, that's cool, I want to do that. I don't think I was there yet. Like,
Okay.
when I was in high school, I had listened to approximately 47,000 million hours of Seamus Kennedy, because my mom played it on repeat constantly in my household. I love Seamus Kennedy, but I'd had enough at that point. You can only
Fair.
hear the same inter-song jokes so many times for them to still be funny.
Seamus Kennedy, for those who don't know, is a Philadelphia area Irish musician who has his jokes. They are pat jokes that he has on every single album, and he just repeats them. Wonderful man, like amusing entertainer.
I mean, I'm
but
talking about him on albums, so regardless whether he repeats them or not, I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Fair.
I was getting into Dropkick Murphys and flogging Molly. I don't think I would have been serious about getting into a kilt yet at that point in my life. I was watching Boondock Saints, loving that stuff.
Okay.
It was going to be a few more years before I was really open to the idea of really kind of changing my look and my lifestyle.
Okay.
So I don't know that it would have affected me directly, but it might depend on the teacher too. You know,
Yeah,
I
I would
was
say-
definitely susceptible to like really like liking certain teachers, but not so much all of them.
Yeah, I would agree. It depends on the teacher. I think you're insightful insofar as saying that it depends on if you are ready for it, and you're ready in your life's journey to accept, like, hey, I should start learning about my heritage and start thinking about my family and about my mortality and about what I'm going to do and da da da. What I found is that most people get into that kind of thing mid to late 20s at the earliest. Some do, scale a little bit younger.
Yeah.
But a lot of people
Pinch
get into
younger
it
for me.
in like the bell curve is mid to late 20s.
Yeah. And for some people, not until they're retired. So
Yeah.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah. I will say that depending on what teacher it was, I would have at least I probably wouldn't at that age, at 16, 18 years old, I probably wouldn't have recognized I would have recognized it as a cultural thing, but I wouldn't have cared as much.
Yeah.
I would have seen it more or processed it through the lens of individual and not caring what other people thought of him and doing what he wanted to do. And
Yeah.
I would have respected him for that.
Yes. All
So
of
that I'd be on board with. I kind of came into it through the Dropkick Murphys type thing was what started my interest. I always went to Irish festivals with my parents, even though they're not really Irish, they're mostly German. But I would do that, which kind of introduced me to some of it. And then when I could blend, the traditional Irish stuff with the punk rock, oi kind of music that I was into,
Yeah.
or the ska music, my first, full plaid kilt suit or full plaid tartan suit. It was always there in the background,
Yeah.
but never for my own personal cultural heritage reason. But it got teased out of me, and I kind of went down the path and then just went.
Yeah.
So,
Our paths are similar in that way. It was Dropkick Murphys and Boondock Saints that kind of helped me start to marry the cool things I was into and the things my mom
the old
liked.
stuffy parent things.
Yeah.
with
Not that
the
they were
fun,
stuffy,
good
but
things.
yeah. And then, built from there.
Yes. Then I got a job here. It was all over. All right, Mr. Mack.
All right.
Next question, pretty please.
Okay, so we have Cameron asking, which kilt has better longevity? Adjustability wise, he's in the process of losing weight. Would also like the kilt to fit as long as possible. And would it make sense for him to order something slightly smaller than his measurements because of the adjustments
Sure.
that we would have to go?
So the first part of the question is, which model would help him do this
It
best?
says which is their style kilt that has
Okay.
better longevity and adjustability.
Okay.
Sure. Couple things. One, when you ask a kilt maker to make you a kilt with the understanding that you are losing weight, you're asking that kilt maker to hit a moving target.
Yes.
It is never easy. You could, start your diet and then immediately fall off of the diet, or just straight up plateau after week 1 and not really lose any weight. So I would say, one, you gotta commit. If you're gonna say, I'm gonna lose weight and I want the kilt made a little bit smaller than I am now, what I generally recommend is measure it so that it would be like on the last hole. So if the straps on a wool kilt span about 3 inches, and you're currently measuring, let's say 45, have the last hole be 45, so the middle hole is about 43 and a half, and it can go down to about 42.
So that you can at least put it on even if you don't lose weight.
Correct. So when you get it, it's still going to fit you even if you don't lose 1 pound. The more insightful thing I thought of, the more insightful thing I thought of was I would probably get a kilt that you can pleat to the stripe. Because if you get a kilt that's pleated to the set and you lose 6 inches, the center back of the pleat or center back of the kilt is going to be off, and you're going to move the belt loops, but they may not align with where you need to move them to. Now the front apron is going to go around a little bit further, but at least with pleating it to the stripe, and that's a British military trick, that's why they pleated stuff to the stripe, is so that it's easier to adjust up or down when you have the kilt done.
Yeah. I will add, just before I get too many questions from customers, not all kilts can be adjusted by 6 inches. It's going to depend on what the starting size of the kilt is.
I've always said it's a ratio.
Yes.
It's if you lose, I forget what number I said officially before.
I have
10% ish.
Yes. That's
If you
exactly
lose
what I was gonna
about
say.
10%, so you're 40, you lose 10% of that, it's 4 inches. Sure, easy,
Ballpark.
done. If you're 60 and you lose 6 inches, well, let's say 10 to 15%, then it's okay. If you lose, 12 inches when you started at 40 and now you're down to 28, it's time for a new kilt.
Time for a new kilt. Yeah. You can usually not go up quite as much, though. Usually you've got about 1 inch 2 tops to go up, depending on the exact, construction of the kilt.
You end up with the buckles on the under apron is the problem.
Which, it's not going to be as strong. As far as model, though, I don't think once you get to the part where you're putting the buckles on the kilt, after you've done all the other construction, I don't think a 5-yard versus an 8-yard matters much here. Right?
Agreed.
I don't even think semi-trad versus wool kilt, so polyviscose versus wool, is going to affect this question too dramatically. I would say you don't have as much ability to move one of our casual polyviscose kilts, because then you're dealing with Velcro. It's a different animal. It really kind of changes where the differences for waist and hip are built in. I wouldn't move those much at all. Can some, but not much.
And I would also say this. You can fully adjust a kilt. If you gain 10 pounds and or 20 or 40 pounds and you want to adjust that kilt from a 50 to a 58, it can be done, but you're talking about buying more cloth, crossing your fingers, hoping that cloth is going to match the existing cloth, which depends on, the age of your kilt and that kind of stuff. And you're also talking about a major reconstruction of the garment. It can still be done. It's just going to cost you a lot of money. Wow. So what we're kind of referring to when we're talking about adjusting a kilt or moving the straps and buckles kind of thing is once you a simple move, a simple adjustment. Once you get into it really should be redone, then you're talking about a $300+ $400 change in a lot of construction. And at that point, your cost benefit analysis, your ROI, if you will, is you're better off selling that kilt on eBay, recouping a half to a third the cost, putting that towards a new kilt, and having one tailor-made specifically for you, versus ripping the whole thing apart and re-engineering it, and then crossing your fingers that the additional piece you had to add on is going to match.
These major reconstructions we do so rarely. For that
Thank
reason.
God.
For that reason. It's like,
And they're not fun on our end. I don't want to do it.
Who wants to spend that much money? And there's going to be ways you can tell it's been adjusted, not just even if the color on your kilt hasn't faded in some way or been affected, and the new piece is a perfect match. There's going to be little ways. I mean, maybe they'll be so subtle you won't notice, but a kilt maker certainly would. And if somebody with a real fine eye for detail would notice, like, hey, this has been altered and adjusted.
Agreed.
Certain things,
and I will say one more thing from a juju perspective is, if you sell your kilt for half of your cost, effectively, is generally what they're going to sell for on eBay or on on a kilt forum or whatever. You're creating two kilts to be out there in the world, and you're helping someone who's getting into wearing a kilt at a cheaper price versus ripping yours apart and redoing it and hoping it works.
So we're creating kiltflation.
We're creating what's the it's good karma.
Yeah.
Mac, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, he Cameron is still following along with us live. So he's saying about the ones with the straps and buckles have a 3-inch adjustment is what we're saying.
Yeah.
He's also curious, Lisa, about the Velcro, how much adjustment is there, and he said he's already lost 10 pounds so far. I apparently found that, and then so he's committed, is what he's saying.
Good. So also 10 pounds can come off of two different guys the same way. If two guys, and we're not the same height, but if we were the exact same height and the exact same weight and we both lost 30 pounds, he might lose it all in the gut, whereas I
Or in my head.
I might lose it all over, and we have a different result. And that's hard to predict too, especially if you haven't gone through massive cycles of gain and loss, where you might have some more predictability if you've done that. So, I mean, we get this all the time. Customers who, I'm losing weight. Can you make it a little smaller? I'm losing weight. Call me before you make it. And what I've found is maybe 50% lose more than half an inch tops. Some people do. It happens. So I guess my final answer for me is, you're going to have to take a long look in the mirror and examine your own history and what you think you're capable of and what your level of stick-to-itiveness is. Are you going to follow through? And I can't tell you if you're going to or not. I just don't. I don't know. Cameron, you said? I don't know you, Cameron, or anybody else who's kind of in the same space. I've seen people stay the same. I've seen people gain weight even after they told me they were going to lose weight. So don't ask me to make it massively smaller, assuming you're going to hit the mark.
Yeah, it's the moving target thing.
The other way to go is get one now. So you
Get a fat kilt and a skinny kilt.
Exactly.
Yes. No, but for
when
Velcro
you get skinny,
kilt,
you don't want to get rid of if you have a fat kilt that you can go back into. That's bad juju.
I have a lot of skinny kilts that I'm going to get back into, I swear.
I still have my first kilt, my wedding kilt. I'm gonna fit into it one day, I swear.
Yes, it doesn't matter that half the apron is showing. It's fine, really. For a kilt with Velcro, you can just add more Velcro, but at some point the front apron is a lot less than half, so it's not great as an option. It's not horrible, but it's not great. It's maybe less
too much.
major reconstruction than a wool kilt would be, but it's still some reconstruction, still a pain in the butt. So you start off at a lower price anyway, so even less pain in the butt is still going to be a $50, thing to go through, and that's what you get for it on eBay. So you sell it and buy a new one, and you're skinny yourself. So it's.
What would you say to a resolution where you buy a less expensive model kilt? Like if you were thinking about an 8-yard kilt, maybe you get a semi-traditional kilt for now, and once you've lost the weight and you've demonstrated you're going to stay there, then you get the 8-yard kilt.
It depends what you're losing weight for. If you're losing weight for your wedding, maybe
fair.
you want the wool kilt for your wedding. If you're just losing it just for fun, or because your doctor says you're going to die because you're fat.
Wow, Cameron, I would not say that about you. I don't know why Rocky's saying such mean things.
Because you're pre-diabetic and you need to lose weight. But it depends on the reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, there's different ways to tackle this problem.
Indeed.
A lot of them are hard to tell you which is the right move.
So strap on your helmet. Tackle accordingly. All right, Ian, you're up next.
Okay. Let's talk about Patrick Rezek?
Sure.
I'm going with Rezek.
Patrick.
Rezek.
What's up, Pat?
This question. He says, I've started to build my own collection of kilt accessories and only have a cardboard box to keep them in. When you start to build your collection of accessories, what is a good way to store the items? Do you hang up the belts and sporrans? Do you roll or fold the socks? Do you have a jewelry box for the smaller items like kilt pins? What might you suggest for these items we don't think about taking care of?
Sure.
We think about taking care of them. Right now.
Yes.
What are you talking about here?
Okay,
Patrick?
so how do we take care of our kilt kit, as it were? Mac, when you are ready, bring yourself in for this one. The how I personally do it for my kilts, I hang them up. I have our 4-clip kilt hangers that I hang them all up in the closet. Insert commercial here. So that takes care of the kilts themselves. For the sporrans, I used to actually hang them from a hook in my closet. I would attach the sporran chain to the exact right size and hang them in the closet. What I found was hanging them over time, the leather pass-through, for lack of a better term, on the back of the sporran would kind of get like wings on it. So I ended up stopping doing that, and I just either store them flat on the shelf or in the box. In the case of dress sporrans, I actually keep them in the box that I have them in, just so that they're nice, compact, no dust, no nothing, back at the closet. For kilt belts and my regular belts, I have a tie thing.
Oh, okay.
It's basically a metal hanger and it with a long skinny thing and then a bunch of little arms coming off of it. So you're supposed to hang a tie over each thing, but on the end it's like a curly Q on the end to keep the ties inside. So I just hang my belt hooks on that. So I have multiple belts hanging there.
Do you have so many belts? You need a solution like that. How many
have-
belts you got? I'm curious now. I've got 2.
I have 3.5-inch jeans belts.
Okay.
Black. I have 1.5-inch jeans belt. No, 2 in brown. I have 2 dress belts, and then I have 2 black kilt belts, 1 black and brown kilt belt that we used to sell, and then I have 1 brown kilt belt, and 1 oxblood one to match the straps on my oxblood tweed kilt. So
Okay.
I get a good number of belts. So yeah, I keep them organized there so that they're all hanging from the same thing. Cufflinks, kilt pins, I have in a small jewelry box in the closet, and belt buckles, I probably have 2 or 3 more than I have kilt belts. So I have some on the kilt belts and some, on the shelf, like kind of tucked away near the sporrans.
Okay.
Oh, socks. My wife does the laundry in the house, so they're just kind of jammed in a drawer. 2 drawers if I'm honest. And then for sporran flashes, I have a tall, skinnier, or a shorter, skinnier drawer on the top of my dresser, and that's where all my flashes kind of live in there. And let me tell you, my wife loves when I get up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning and then with a flashlight go through the different drawers trying to find 2 matching socks so I don't embarrass myself throughout the day, and then trying to pull out of the drawer and putting lumps of kilt flashes up on the top of the dresser to dig through and find the 2 that actually match.
I know this phenomenon well.
Yes.
Fortunately, my wife sleeps through the flashlight process.
Oh no. No. My wife, she will come to bed and like kick and scream and kick doors open and brush her teeth and all, like at the top volume of a brushing volume. Yes, you can have a
Brushing
volume.
volume.
Yes, volume of brushing. She will as much noise as she wants. Now look, I'm a heavy
Thank
sleeper.
goodness she does not watch this.
I don't care if she does or not because it's true. But me, like a mouse could piss in a cotton ball across the house, and that woman would wake up.
There's a graphic for them to do.
Yes.
As marketing team, please get on putting together that that video package.
Yes. So me in the morning, what are you doing? Why are you so loud? Why is so much noise? Like, shh, just be quiet. Doesn't matter. Ian. Mal's pissing in a cotton ball. Yes, I went there.
Fortunately, my wife sleeps through anything and everything. She could fall asleep with the lights on. I don't understand it. And we don't have the same problem, 'cause I'm a light sleeper too. So if she would, if I had to put up with what you apparently have to put up with, it'd be a massive problem. Fortunately, I don't sleep that much. That's how I resolve this problem. I go to bed hours after my wife does, and I get up at least an hour or two before she does. But that's not the question.
No, I'm I'm like half a step above a narcoleptic. I can fall asleep like that, dude.
I got a flashlight out in the morning trying to find the matching flashes and that kind of stuff without turning on all the lights, even though it doesn't bother her. I should just turn on the lights. I don't know. This is turning into therapy too quickly. I'm sitting on the couch talking to my therapist, Rocky. I actually, to answer the question, I need to answer this question for myself because I've been recently increasing my volume of sporins and belts and things like that with changing things in my life. So I don't have great storage. We're not following up with the video package and showing Ian's closet and how he's figuring things out. When I first started, yes, I had like a Rubbermaid container, a little better than a cardboard box, that slid under the bed. Current bed doesn't fit that container, and there's still
IKEA, good place for rubber containers, cheap.
There's still a container, and it still has things in it. I don't think I've opened it in 6 months though, because it has things I don't wear anymore. But kilt hose are just in my socks drawer. I've got a section for there. I've got a shelf in my dresser. Like there's drawers down below, but there's just shelves up above, and the top shelf has sporins and belts and buckles and things. And I've got too many things for the shelf. It's not a great storage solution, so it's kind of a mess. I need to figure it out. I know friend of the show, Captain Ron, who's been featured before for some of his odd kilts. He uses the box system like you do. I think he has all of his sporins in boxes and they're labeled so that they can be stacked nicely. And that might work better for me because then it can go higher on the shelf without just creating a ball of a rat's nest of sporin chains.
Now, if you have a lot of sporins, here's a hack for you.
Same thing.
If you have a lot of sporins, you can get one of those. Like they generally make them out of like canvas or cotton material. Shoe racks for the back of the door. If you get them wide enough, you can get them and just put your sporins in there on the back of the door.
I was just about to bring that up, and I've wanted to do that, but I don't have a good door for that because my door is in the corner of a room, and it opens up against the wall. You wouldn't be able to open the door all the way.
Okay.
So, doesn't work
Or
for me, but
sliding door would be bad, too.
made for you. Yeah, the closet doors are sliding doors in my case, so, yeah.
Mac, do you have any insight here?
So I have a similar thing with you with
Mice peeing on cotton balls everywhere in your house.
Well, I'll say this. I start off. I get my stuff ready the night before, so I don't do the fumbling through everything.
Does your mommy come over and lay it out on the bed?
No,
for you?
I start with my hat and work my way down.
The hat is the corner piece.
That
of
is
the
the
outfit.
least surprising thing you could have said. Most
So-
kilt wearers, I think,
Socks.
start with a kilt.
I think he would start with the socks, even though it's tucked into the shoe. The man would still match his socks.
I think you go shoes first and then socks.
Okay.
It's hat then socks.
Don't follow Max. Okay, go ahead, Mac.
But I have a tie. The rounder one
Okay.
on the back of my door, and I have sporins alternating with the belts on there.
Okay.
I have a 3-tier drawer. Like you can get like the plastic ones. You can get like I was gonna say Kmart, but there's none of them around anymore. But Walmart or whatever. And I have all the kilt hose in there. They're rolled up and paired up next to each other, and then I have a small Tupperware Rubbermaid thing on top that has all the flashes.
Okay.
And then I have another one that has ties that are all nice rolled
Nicely
up
rolled up. Yep.
and in color
Oh,
order.
a little rainbow in the closet.
Exactly.
Oh, so cute.
So, because I don't have the best storage system, on days when I'm on time, or at least on time for when I'm expecting to be here, it's because I set everything out the night before. I do that frequently. I did it for today because knowing that I was, had to look pretty good for the show today. Yeah, the days when I'm like 15 minutes after I was expecting to be here, it's because I was doing it in the morning and predominantly with a flashlight. And
Yeah, the only time I lay stuff out before is if I have to remember to do something. Like, oh, I'm gonna be on the show tomorrow, so put this shirt like hanging face out, or I have hockey tomorrow night. I gotta bring my cup and my the hockey jersey and my shorts and that kind of thing, so I don't forget to bring it in the morning. But
just make sure none of the mice have peed in the cup.
exactly, it's just mine. It's fine.
Mice all over their house, apparently. It's a big problem.
Indeed. All right, that was you or Mac? That
was
you.
me.
Mr. Mac.
Alrighty. So
Any rats in the audience who want to talk about peeing in cups?
let's go to the Twitch.
Twitch.
So we have Wolf Warden asking. He's going to sell us. He's a longtime YouTube watcher, but now he's switching over to Twitch for this one, and he's new to watching the videos live.
Okay. Nice.
He'd like to know how often do the mills cycle through PV tartans. He's trying to decide which one he wants, but he wants to get it before it disappears. So he's concerned about
Cycles
that.
through.
My
Right.
first objection is with one letter. It's a letter S at the end of mill.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only one mill that we use for the polyviscose cloth. It's a weird one because the mill that weaves the fabric and the PV material, they don't add to the range much. They've subtracted from the range, but not too much over time, like a reasonable amount. But the ones that are, we're a weird company in that we don't just offer, hey, here's the, 68 or 74 or whatever it is, tartans that the mill offers. We actually do the American Heritage, the Kilts and Culture tartan, Celtic Nations. We do a couple, I would say, how many do you think we do like custom tartans for ourselves in PV? 15-ish?
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah, we've got a
The
good
4
amount.
military, it's 4 right there.
American Heritage.
American Heritage, Ireland National, Irish Heritage, Celtic Nations, Albanac, KNC.
Then you got the
Firefighter.
Sterling family.
Oh yeah, the Sterling Color tartans.
That adds to
So-
the range quite a bit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
15, 20 probably
Yeah,
now.
I'd say we're pushing a lot more than that now.
Yeah, so there's a lot of tartans that we actually add to the range that our specific designs. They are woven just for us. When we weave those,
Stocked by us only.
yeah, it's stocked by us only. But in order to get a reasonable price, we have to order like 300 plus meters of fabric every time we do that. So there's not a lot that
Big
are
risk.
not a lot that are discontinued. They did a culling, if you will, a couple years ago. They stopped or discontinued about 8
Yeah.
or so, or at least 8 of the ones that we carried. But they've been pretty consistent throughout the life of us carrying stuff from the mill. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Yeah, if you have a question about it, email us, ask us, hey, how much do you have in stock? Or is the mill going to discontinue this particular one? I'm planning on ordering in the next 6 months. Or if you have like 3 or 4 that you're looking at ordering over time, let us know and we'll let you know what we got.
Yeah. Emailing us directly if it's a specific tartan would be my answer to this specific person. But yeah, in general, they don't change much.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Good. Because I don't want to change the pictures on the freaking website. I don't want to try to match things that they do earlier. I don't want to try to mix. Nope. I want to be consistent forever, doing the same thing. The beauty of kilts is that it's not like fashion where every season they're coming out with a new thing, and the thing that was hot last year they've stopped doing because it's not as cool this year or whatever. They're tartan patterns. They've been around for years and years and years, so they're going to kind of carry them through. But if it's one of our designs, we're going to weave it enough that we can carry it through and kind of add to that history, if you will.
Yeah. And we're going to want to keep stocking that if it's doing well.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if it's not doing well, we're probably going to have it for a while.
Unfortunately. Indeed. All right, Mr. Ann.
Okay. Let's talk about Mark Essery's question. He says, I recently purchased a Rampant Lion kilt pin. I own kilts in Highland Grey, Spirit of Bruce, Masonic, Blackwatch Weathered, Blackwatch, and will soon have Fraser Weathered. Knowing very little about the Rampant Lion, only that it was only to be flown by Scottish royalty, would it be wrong, a faux pas, or just downright offensive to wear it on any of these tartans?
Okay. So the lion, rampant lion, would you wear it as a kilt pin or other symbol on any of those tartans? Sure. No, it's not offensive. There's no faux pas here. There's no, diabolical plan either. It's a symbol of Scotland. So yes, I would wear it. As a tangential, side note kind of thing, the term typically it's a lot of people use it like in the reverse order. It would be lion rampant because it's a heraldic thing. So it would be the actual animal and then rampant or salient or dormant. Those are all heraldic terms to describe the posture of the lion, whether it's, one hand up, two hands up, all 4 feet down, laying down, sleeping, whatever it is, passant. There's several different terms in heraldry that would describe the position of the animal, but typically it's animal first, position second.
Is there a distinction between its use as a flag versus its use elsewhere? Because I know the flag theoretically should only be flown by royalty, but the
or
symbol
to show
itself.
that the royals are in residence at Holyrood or whatever.
Right.
I don't make that distinction. I don't know many people who would.
Okay.
And it's one of those so few people would make that distinction. I don't think it's ever going to be a problem.
Might
It's
be a bit comparable to certain aspects of our own American flag code, where people are out there violating the flag code left and right in terms of using flags in places that our flag code would say you shouldn't, even as they're expressing their patriotism.
A, no. B, most of the people, the flag code is interpreted / misinterpreted by a lot of people, period. So
Agreed.
It's the flag code is not making things from a flag, not in the spirit of a flag.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, especially Americans, who would misinterpret what flag code means.
Yeah.
In Scotland, because we've
Which is
actually
not the
had
same
this.
as law.
Correct. And in Scotland, we've actually had this discussion before, and I had a big, long discussion with Bill, the managing director or the sales manager at House of Edgar. They don't have a flag code because we talked about like the saltire kilt, the big X like woven into the fabric on that's when you pleat it up has a big X on the back of the kilt. And his point was like how many miles of fabric they had woven, and this is a hot seller way back when, and they've sold a ton of these things. And my point back then was it would be a little different here in America where we wouldn't necessarily want to sit on the flag.
Yeah.
But his point was in Scotland there is no flag code. It's like, why would you care about that? You're just showing the saltire. Where Americans read more into the symbolism of it. Typically.
Is that distinction the difference between where the saltire is a national flag but not a country flag, whereas for the United States it is both national and country flag?
Sure.
Okay.
Saltire, yes.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
It's just a hard. We don't have that. Give a f. Period. That's not something that they concern themselves with. Versus in America, it's written down and there's something there and we kind of feel it. Versus over there, they it's just a flag. Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Indeed. All right,
Fair enough.
Mr. Mack.
All right. This one is right up your alley.
Right. Here's the alley.
That hand
right up
motion
your
makes me
alley.
nervous.
Dakota is asking, would you gentlemen kindly give me some ideas for a casual date outfit?
Date.
Okay.
Date. Going on a date.
You've come to the wrong place.
Yes, old married man.
Yes. Rocky's has...
I got the hot trends, you young whippersnapper. Here we go.
How long have you been with your wife? When was the last time you went on a first date?
Does that answer have to be longer or shorter than when I've been with my wife? I'm pleading the
Ken,
fifth.
you are lucky she does not watch
I
this
know
show.
she doesn't. The casual
Casual date.
date outfit. Is it a blind date? Is it did they meet online? Is this the first time they're ever going out? Is it I need more data, man. You're
this is the only-
hamstringing me.
This is the only data that I got.
What's his name?
Dakota.
Dakota, quick, get back in the comments. Tell us, is this a blind date? Have you known the person long? Do you work with them? And this is just like the first date outside of work uniform?
Yeah, all these questions matter.
Now I gotta know, and it's gonna be a 30-second freaking delay. All right, what would I wear for a casual date? Let's assume certain things.
How casual are we talking? Casual can be a broad range of things. Here.
Yeah, are we talking like going to the pumpkin patch on Halloween? Are we McDonald's? Or is it like just, it's a nice-ish
pub.
kind of restaurant. All right, pub.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay. If I'm going to a pub, it's...
All right.
All right, go
I
ahead.
had to look back in the comments. I did find another one for him.
Okay.
He says, we're going down to the river,
In a van down by the river?
and then they're going for dinner.
Okay. Down by the river's vague. That could be a nice walk on a paved trail, but
Yeah,
it can
so
also be
so
under
is
a bridge.
out for dinner. Okay. All right. Here's my easy overarching advice. Dress for the event as you would if you were wearing pants, but insert kilt.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to a pub and a reasonable pub, like a micro pub, has some nice beers, dinner is, $20-ish a plate,
Yeah.
then I would wear...
If you're getting
maybe,
a burger, it has fancy ingredients you wouldn't normally find on a burger.
Yes, there's some kind of fancy cheddar cheese,
like-
not just like Velveeta.
There's like Gruyere.
In that instance, I would maybe a polo or a Henley shirt or something a little bit nicer I would wear with a kilt. I would probably wear kilt hose and a pair of wingtips, maybe with that.
Okay.
If it is the local watering hole Irish pub where it's $2 wing night, then I would probably just wear my fanciest T-shirt without the holes.
So
but
what
I
Mack's
would-
doing.
Exactly, my Piper Alley T-shirt. I would wear an appropriate level of formality and just insert the kilt instead of pants.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
I might go a pinch more dress because it is a date and you're trying to make a good impression.
Yeah, I don't care
I mean,
about
you
impressions.
certainly don't want to wear a Prince Charlie for a walk down by the river and the fancy pub in town. Like this is maximum level of dress. You know what I mean? But maybe this. I mean, I went out with my wife. We did a
Would
late.
you wear that to walk down by the river?
I mean, it really depends on how long a walk we're talking about here. If we're talking about an
What
all
kind of
afternoon,
river? Is there like mud or is
Yeah.
there a trail?
This matters. This matters. If it's an all afternoon hike, no, absolutely, I'm not dressing like this. If it's a 20-minute walk, along a paved trail that just happens to be along the city's riverfront, and there's shops on the other side of the street,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
then perhaps, depending on the time of year, of course. If it's the
A
middle,
leisurely stroll.
if it's August in Pennsylvania, I'm not dressing like this outside anywhere. But yeah, somewhere on a spectrum from polo shirt to this tweed tie, dress shirt. Smart casual.
It depends on the date too. If I'm
Some of those questions we asked earlier.
if
yeah, it
I'm
does
gonna
depend.
go out on a date with a punk rock chick or a goth chick, I'm not going to dress in a polo or like you dweeb. I'm gonna be more comfortable. I'm going to dress
It depends on
how I would
how
normally
well. This
dress.
go back to one of those other questions. Though, is like, how well do you know the person you're going out on this first date with? Is it a friend that you're kind of escalating, or a friend coworker, or is it a blind date? If it's a totally blind date and you've never met this person, maybe your friend set you guys up, maybe you know nothing about them, they know nothing about you. A kilt's a strong flavor. It's like spicy food in that way. Like some women, a guy in a kilt, oh my goodness, I hit the jackpot. Some women are like, ooh, gross, a guy in a kilt. Now none of those women are watching probably. So let's lean into the first thing.
Okay.
But, you're making a bold move, and a bold move isn't necessarily bad.
I will go a step further. Here's what I would say. I would dress how I would normally dress. I would not
Fair.
put on airs. I
Fair.
would do what I am going to do. I would
Fair.
not pretend to be someone I am not to impress someone who I don't know if is going to like me or not. If I put on airs, if I put a fake persona out there and the person likes that person, over several dates, falls in love with that person, then, and I'm not that person, it's the reason why we do this show. I am the same in person, more caffeinated, more scotch than I am in person. But I am the same person right here than I am in my office, than I am in the store, than I am in production. Because I don't want to be fake. I want to be the same person that I am all the time, because it's too much freaking energy to be two different people at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And if she likes that, great. She likes it. We mesh. Boom. Done. Clicked. If she doesn't, next.
Yeah. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
From that perspective, I think where I'm going to come down on this is, if you're watching the show, you probably have an interest in kilts. It's, at least in some way, maybe a little, maybe a lot, part of your lifestyle. If you show up to a first date in a kilt, whether it's with a polo or with a shirt, tie, tweed, and she's not into it, you just found that out from the jump. You saved yourself 2 more dates for finding out that that you're not going to be into her because she doesn't like your lifestyle.
You saved yourself money.
Or if you show up on the first date in a kilt because that's part of what you're into and she's into it, you found that out that much faster.
Yeah, it's something no matter whether it's kilt or whether it's, if you wear your little Star Trek pin or your Star Wars pin because you like that on your jacket, or you wear your rocker panel because you're an MC, or you wear your favorite band T-shirt, whatever it is, be who you are.
Yeah.
That is what actually matters. And then figure out if it's a good mix.
Yeah.
Don't be someone fake for 2 reasons. 1, you're saving yourself time and money and agita. 2, you're saving them time and money and agita. If they think you are one person and then you reveal yourself to be something else later on, they're going to be annoyed with that and they're going to feel like you're doing something weird and different. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
The right people will find you. You will attract the right people, and the right people will attract you. People overthink this stuff too much. There is a hole for every thing. There's a tab A for a slot B. I don't know. It's every. I'm stopping right there.
Okay.
But I broke Mack.
I don't know if that's the metaphor you want to use there. Well, I
It
don't know what they're looking for
is.
from their first date.
It is the metaphor
Don't know
I
what they're
wanna
looking for.
That's third date, Ian. Third date.
I mean, I don't know. Connor, was it?
No.
Cameron?
But the point is, just be who you are, and the right people will find you. If you are a fake, then the wrong people will find you, and then you're going to have problems.
If you're thinking about it this hard in advance, I'm gonna jump out on a limb here and suggest maybe you're somebody who is a little nervous. You're not sure to talk about on a first date sometimes. If that's the case, the kilt's a great conversation starter. It'll be something to talk about.
Yeah.
Might be good, might be bad, but as we already talked about, you're gonna find something out.
Dakota has responded.
Dakota. I was way off. Cameron was a different question entirely.
He's like, I'm guessing this is about my question. She already knows that he wears kilts and loves it.
Good.
Okay.
Wear a kilt. 100%. Be who you are. Wear a kilt. Wear whatever you're comfortable in, whatever the level of restaurant or walk down by the river requires, whether it's hip waders or whether it's hiking boots or whether it's wingtips. Wear the right thing for the event. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Consequences be damned. You'll figure it out. And she'll figure it out. And that's the point.
Yeah.
You want to be long term. You want to be with the right person. And the right person is going to love you for who you are, not who you pretend to be.
That's the most earnest thing you've ever said on the show, Rocky.
Nowhere near the most earnest, but it's one of them.
It's a beautiful sentiment.
Thank you. All right, next, Mr. Ian.
Okay.
I think we may have one more for you and one more for Mac.
Yeah. Let's
What's-
see. Okay.
In case of emergency, break glass.
Let's do that one. Let's talk about David Donworth's question. David Donworth, who I know happens to have this same kilt that I'm wearing here. Same tartan anyway, not the same kilt. That'd be weird. We don't share kilts. David and I don't share kilts. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions.
Roommates?
No, we don't even live in the
Awkward,
same
yes.
state. So
First
I
date?
guess this is a question primarily for Ian and Mac, which makes me nervous because I haven't thought about this question enough in advance. Your favorite Ian and Rocky moment from either the show or in real life. So he says, on or off screen, what's your favorite Ian and Rocky or Mac and Rocky moment? I'll let you go first, Mac. How do you feel? What do you got?
Well, there's several stories that we could go with, but
We've accumulated
I'm
over
curious,
time.
Are you gonna look for the best Mackie and Rock moment, or are you going for the best Ian and Rocky? Are we trying to do each other, or are we doing ourselves here?
I was gonna go for Mac Rocky.
Okay, fair enough. Helps me figure out and formulate a response here.
For context, Mac, when did you start? 2009, 8?
8-ish, somewhere in
Okay,
that
somewhere in
ballpark.
there.
Well,
It's-
8 was when it became official full time.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
7, 8, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Max known me for a while.
They were coworkers before they started dating.
Yeah.
We hold hands and skip across the street to Wawa.
And down by the river.
There's definitely a trip to Ohio that we could, but that one we can't bring up on air.
Getting pulled over by the cops.
Yeah, that's
We
another
ain't
trip to
killed for.
Ohio.
Yeah, that's part of the trip to Ohio.
Yeah. So there's those. I'm slamming my hand on the door.
Remove hand before closing door. Mental note.
Also, good advice for a first date.
I think I'm gonna go back to the Phoenixville store.
Okay, Phoenixville.
The Phoenix store, and there's another one from the Phoenix store that we can't do either.
It's a lot.
But there was an instance where I had to leave the production room because it was getting a little heated back there between Rocky and Kelly, and I had to go.
We never fight. It's fine.
It wasn't necessarily a fight that caused the heat. It was the scissors, the location of the scissors where she had on her machine, and then went into their elbow, made a pocket of sorts.
Yes.
And we were discussing how to patch it.
We had needle and thread.
My wife used to keep an embroidery scissors, like a little tiny scissors. It was about like that long overall, right on the knob on the top of her machine. And she turned back and put her elbow right into it, and it just made a small V-shaped pocket, half inch, 3/4 inch deep,
A puncture
in
wound,
her
if you
elbow.
will.
Yes. We won't call it a puncture wound quite yet.
Yes. So we knew we had hydrogen peroxide in
the building.
In the building, so we were going to.
Not great on puncture wounds.
Well, we figured that out later.
It's fine.
So
Figured that
we
out
decided
far too
that
young an
wounds need to be cleaned out, so hydrogen peroxide is a good solution to this.
Yes.
So her screaming and kicking at Rocky, I was like, I'm going to go in the store. And then Sue, Kelly's mom, who was working with us at the time too, are in the bathroom with Rocky trying to pour this hydrogen peroxide. And
Holding
I'm out
Kelly
there
still.
and I'm out there with customers, and they're like just staring in the back going, what is going on? I'm like, that's fine. We're good.
To be fair, that happened a lot with Kelly. Just what is going on back there?
Yes, screaming. I remember telling her, and her trusting me for some reason, that pouring hydrogen peroxide in this puncture wound was going to clean it out and be fine. And holding her elbow over, she's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Over the sink. I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine, it's fine." And I'm pouring it in, and she's like, "It burns, it burns." I'm like, "It's fine." And she's kicking me as I'm trying to pour it in. And Max in there, like, fielding questions from customers, like, no, they're fine, they're fine. Marital spat.
You should wear this kilt on the first date.
Yes, memories. All right, Mr. Ian.
I mean, obviously, my answer here has to be my favorite Ian and Rocky moment is the part where I pestered you for 7 years until you finally made the Celtic Nations muted tartan.
Yeah. It became a fun running joke.
Yeah.
That I wasn't going to do it, and then I decided that, hey, I should do that.
I'm sure there's better stories here, but I'd have to think about it longer. A lot of mine and Rocky's relationship is just low key, long running jabs at each other, which doesn't make for great storytelling.
Great idea to insult your boss on a regular basis. Really endearing.
Become store manager one day. The look on Rocky's face when I came back after he gave me homework early in my career here, and I came back and said, I don't know, Tombstone was fine.
Say what?
Kind of like that look.
Wait, I didn't hear what you said.
I was like, when I just said, Tombstone was kind of fine. As a movie, it's fine.
The movie Tombstone is a theatrical masterpiece, for the record, and the most quotable movie ever. If you have not seen the movie Tombstone, Val Kilmer, Oscar-worthy performance, robbed, period.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. It is up there with quotables with Boondock Saints 1. Indeed.
It's a very quotable movie.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's good. It's good. He's never watched a movie I asked him to watch.
You do all bad movies. I don't care about your movies. You're dumb. Tombstone, best movie ever. Why would I watch anything else? Best movie.
I watched it that one time. It was good.
All right. Indeed. Okay, enough creepy Rocky stories. Cleaning out wives' wounds.
Let's move on to artistic Rocky stories.
Yes. All right, Mr. Mack, you will have the last question of the day. Then we have to think of a question of the day, and I haven't thought of one yet.
All right, I'm looking through the questions here.
Ian, think of a question of the day, because I haven't thought of one.
I've got one, but it's the one I already told you. I hope that one's okay.
Okay, that's fine. We'll figure it out.
Chris is asking, how do you feel about wearing Aaron sweaters with kilts?
Aaron sweaters with kilts is fine.
Yeah.
I do it on a regular basis, or some kind of cable knit. Aaron sweaters being, from the island of Aaron, but you can wear any kind of cable knit sweater with it. It's a nice look. When I wear I will add this caveat. When I wear an Aaron knit sweater, try to make sure it's not too long so it doesn't cover the top of the sporran, or if it's a little bit long, make sure you're tucking it behind the flap of the sporran. You do not have to wear a belt when you're wearing it with the sweater. But yeah, I do it a lot in the winter.
I wear sweaters. I don't have a good Aaron or even a really good cable knit sweater, but that's something I've been meaning to change. Maybe this coming fall or winter, that's something I'll correct. I'm certainly not going to be wearing any heavy sweaters between now and September, though.
No,
not
I
in
sweat too
Pennsylvania.
much. Nope.
Maybe they do it in Scotland or Ireland, but not here.
Those people.
Those.
All right, Ian, we'll do one more.
One more?
Because Max was quick.
Okay, I'm going to try to find the question really quick that was related to the question of the day that I had in mind. Stephen Waldrop. I'm new to wearing the kilt and trying to learn as rapidly as possible. We appreciate that. I would like to hear some tips on how to minimize the amount of stuff I carry in order to fit the essentials into my sporran. I also have a belt bag, but don't wear it with pullover sweater, related to that last question, and with a vest that limits my carrying capacity. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Thank you, Stephen.
Cheers.
Fabulous question.
When I've always been a reasonably minimalist item carrier. I have never been the guy to need the man bag or backpack, to carry all of the stuff all of the time. The only time I wear a backpack is when I go hiking to carry my lunch.
Doesn't hydrate enough.
No, not nearly enough hydration. I'm hydrating with coffee and scotch. It's fine. But I will say this. When I started wearing kilt, I did carry a regular sized wallet, maybe a little bit thick, with business cards and 27 credit cards and, a couple receipts in there. Not George Costanza not George Costanza level of wallet thickness exploding. But I would, I used to smoke back then, so I would carry smokes. I'd carry my keys, carry a pen, carry business cards, carry a wallet, and all that, was, a thick honkin' sporran.
Hard to get at everything, especially like in the moment.
Yeah.
I get a little self-conscious if I'm at the Wawa or somewhere. I'm sitting there like digging in my sporran. I'm in line. Cause I don't like to carry a lot of things.
No, what ended up happening was if I wanted to pay with cash, I would have to take things out of my sporran and put it on the counter or on the bar to get to the thing I want because it went down to the bottom.
No bueno.
Exactly. So I've evolved into much more of a minimalist. So now I will have a phone with my 2 credit cards in the back of the phone, and I'll have a money clip with $50 or whatever it is. So I'm not really carrying much, even to the point of my keys. I will carry a car key on a separate ring from my store and all other keys. So if I don't need all the other keys, I just bring my car key with me. I will carry as little as possible anywhere so I don't have to deal with all this stuff.
Yeah.
If you're wearing I will say this, if I'm wearing a vest like Ian has on now, a lot of times I will wear, because my phone's in front of this camera going on the tickety talks, but I have a Note, basically a taller phone. So it's kind of tough to fit in my sporran sometimes, or when I bend over, it pushes up and unsnaps the snap on the sporran. So a lot of times when I'm wearing a I need to carry my phone with me in the retail store downstairs, or if I'm out or something like that, I'll put my phone in my pocket of the vest, and it sticks out the top. Looks a little unsightly, but I don't really care because it's more utilitarian. So I'll do that to get some extra room, and I'll use the pockets on my vest. But yeah, that's about it.
Hard disagree on phone in the vest. I see what you mean about being in the sporn. If I put my phone in here, the pockets on a kilt vest are not very deep.
My vests
Falls out.
I specifically make them, when I have my vest, make them deeper pockets all the way down to the
Yeah,
bottom.
okay.
So I've done that because I know I'm going
Wish
to
you
do
hadn't
that.
said that out loud and where customers can hear that. Yeah, if my phone falls out 17 times, I actually tend to stuff it in the waistband a little bit. That tends to work out a little bit better for me. Prior to being an everyday kilt wearer, I was a big wallet guy. I didn't have 27 credit cards like some people, but I had like photos of my kid and of my wife, who I love, and I had this whole big honking wallet with like I had like a coin in there for some, like a big like dollar
Challenge
coin in
coin or
there
something,
for
yeah,
some
yeah.
reason. I don't know. I had tons of stuff in my wallet. It made no sense. So I found when I became a couple times a year kilt wearer, I'd leave the wallet at home. I'd grab like 1 or 2 key credit cards, my driver's license if I was going to be drinking, because I was putting on a kilt I was probably drinking, and whatever cash I had, rubber band, or one of my wife's hair ties. Now I have my own hair ties, but I don't need to be subject to the tyranny of my wife's hair tie supply.
Admit it, you don't usually wear hair ties. He usually wears a scrunchie. It's
I would do that as a temporary solution for the day, since I go back to wearing pants and my big honkin' wallet. Since becoming an everyday kilt wearer, I needed a better solution. I found, something a little bit more compact. No more pictures, no more random stuff. It's got cash, driver's license, the cards that I need. Much better solution. So
just have tissues.
if you can get down to your wallet that's compact and the limited number of keys you need and your phone, what else do you have to
Yeah,
have?
it's ultimately, think about it this way: what do you actually use?
Yeah.
I mean, my money clip has a
I guess it depends on your lifestyle, but
yes, but I have a utilitarian money clip. It has like a little little tape measure on one side, has a flathead screwdriver, has a can opener, bottle opener on the actual money clip. It's like a credit card shape. Now, if you have something like that, that takes care of the utilitarian type things you need it for. What do you need to, something like that. What do you actually need to carry on a day-to-day basis that you've used in the last 6 months to year? And if you haven't used that key to your bike lock that's in the garage, rusted shut because you haven't used your bike in 27 years, do you need to carry it on your freaking keychain? No. So think about it that way and pare down what you actually need and just carry the stuff that you need just for weight purposes, if nothing else.
I used a small hiking / more like bicycling backpack for like a festival day where I was going to need more things.
Yeah.
A water bladder because I do hydrate, but
Filled with
but
scotch.
yeah,
It's fine.
every day I need my keys, my phone, my wallet, and I'm
Yeah,
good.
that's it.
Everything else I can carry.
Yep. So what it boils down to, just be as minimal as possible. And if you're going to go out for a full day, maybe you need more. If you're going to go out for a date night and you need 1 credit card, maybe 2, and cash and your car key, why do you need to bring more than that? You're going on a freaking date. Just leave the rest of the stuff at home. Yeah, exactly. All right.
What if you need a hanky?
There you go.
Thank you. I'm good.
I have allergies. My allergies have been horrible this year, so I have some tissues in my spine. All right. Question of the day. What do you want to
Go
ask?
with mine. So
Yep.
related to that, so for those of you who are, everyday kilt wearers especially, but anybody who wears a kilt, what is like the one thing that's in your sporn that you definitely don't need, but is taking up space in there anyway? So beyond the keys, the phone, the wallet, the obvious things, maybe a napkin. For me, the last few days, it has been something really dumb. My aunt was in town, and she gave me a whole fistful of atomic fireballs. My sporn has like a dozen atomic fireballs. It's not normal for me, but that is currently what is taking up too much space in my sporn.
I will omit any ball jokes that I was about to insert there. I would just omit those from the show. But good question. What do you carry in your sporn that you really don't need?
Or
Let us
feel
know
like
in
you
the
do
comments.
need.
Or feel like you need, but don't actually need, or may actually need. An EpiPen. I don't know.
Fair?
So,
You're telling people they don't need their EpiPen.
saw a joke about my dad, lay there gasping for breath, dying, and he really wanted me to have this. I'm not sure why, but his EpiPen seemed really important that I have this.
That's mean.
I know. I have a horrible sense of humor. I'm a horrible human being. All right, boys and girls. Let us know in the comments, what do you carry around with you in your sporran that you don't really need, but you carry it anyway? Until next time, boys and girls.